Basketball Wives reunion. So Laura calls Jackie talking about she's sick and she's not gonna make it. You sure disappeared after they brought up that you supposedly slept with Shaq. Ever since that came up, you haven't been back on the show on any episodes, and now you're not coming to the reunion. Girl, bye. So they backstage talking about everything. Jen and her husband, his restitution and his case, how Jackie be talking about everybody, how Evelyn accused Jackie of prostitution and Jackie accused Evelyn of messing with animals. Now, Nina is a cool host because she's been hosting 11 hip-hop reunions forever, but the best Basketball Wives reunion host ever was John Sally, and they need to try to get him back. So they played a little quote game about who had the most iconic quotes to break the ice, so now it's time to get to the real tea. So they start asking Evelyn about her private investigator work. Now, she says she really does want to become a private investigator. I could see that because Basketball Wives isn't going to last forever. The show shouldn't even still be on now, and I don't know how well her, maxi dress loungewear business is really doing. So Jackie responds, she says she's never prostituted before, and Evelyn asks Brandy what does she think. And Brandy said, you always giving signs because the meaning of a ponderosa is when pimps get they hoes together. Never knew that. Jackie never takes accountability, so of course she's trying to say she didn't start that rumor about Evelyn messing with the animals. She heard it from somebody else and repeated it, and the dog was limping. Girl, you know you made that shit up because ain't nobody else was going to think of that. So now they get into when Brooke exposed Jackie for talking to Sunday about everybody. Remember, she had spoke on Brooke's daughter. She had spoke on Jennifer's nudes. She had spoke on Brandy not being able to have children. She basically went for the worst thing that you could go for any of these ladies. So, of course, instead of taking accountability, Jackie tries to say, well, Sunday is the one who said that Brandy only needs to come back if she's getting a divorce or having a baby, and basically acting like she just agreed. And Brandy was like, well, you're the one who needs a divorce. It's starting to be a lot of conversation about Jackie and Doug having issues in their marriage and him possibly cheating on her. Brandy started saying, free Doug. They had her and Jackie sitting right next to each other. So their hands are in each other's faces. They hitting each other's hands and stuff. And Jacelle just basically said that she don't got no problem with Jackie, but she feel like the ladies have said so much good things about her, like her being the matriarch and stuff, and she haven't got to experience any of that in her opinion. Jackie sat there and lied and said she don't record people. And Nina was like, didn't you get caught red-handed recording them at the bachelorette party? And Jen made everybody put the phones away. So she did admit that she was recording, and Nina was like, maybe Evelyn and Jackie should join forces. Evelyn likes to get information and Jackie likes to record stuff. So they should make Basketball Wives PI. They said the prostitute and the lady who likes to mess with animals should join forces. So now they get to talking about Brooke's whole dating situation this season. And everybody basically said they did feel like she was moving too fast except for Evelyn. And Evelyn was like, my girl could do what she want to do. If it's 3 months, 3 years, it don't matter. Brooke is a boss. She going to bounce back regardless if it work out with a nigga or not. And Brooke was like, yeah, I'm dating somebody else, but I'm not going to tell y'all. Okay, next thing they show us everything that was going on this season with Brandy, how everybody kind of kept picking at her about her and Jason's relationship, and how at the end she basically told him that she was moving to LA and he could stay in Texas. And she basically just said that it's still up in the air. Some days she wants her family, but other times she's just over it. The humiliation behind everything that Jason's done. So she just don't really know what she want to do right now. And she's also said that her son has gotten to the age where he's on social media and he's aware of Jason's cheating and everything they've gone through in their relationship too. And so are other people his age, like his friends and people he goes to school with. So Nina was reading fan questions as well as her questions. So she had a fan question for Evelyn who asked, why did every time you and Brandy get into it, the first thing you brought up was Jason? And Evelyn flat out said, I don't like Jason. And Evelyn basically just said, it wasn't the right card to pull, and that's why I already apologized. I wouldn't say it again. But at the end of the day, when you're in an argument, you talk shit. Brandy said she felt like Brooke should have checked Evelyn about it because there was times that Evelyn said this stuff about Jason when Brandy wasn't present, but Brooke was. And Brooke was like, well, at the end of the day, you also had invited Jackie to your cooking class without asking me. So it basically was like they both just felt like they wasn't on the best page with each other. But Brandy was basically saying me trying to bring Jackie around you was still something for you. You letting Evelyn talk about me and my situation is not doing nothing for me or for you. And Brooke basically was like, bottom line, I wasn't going to pick sides between you and Evelyn or say anything to involve myself in y'all situation the same way that you didn't want to pick sides between me and Jackie. So Nina invites Cheyenne on the stage talking about she's a special guest. I wanted the special guest to be Sunday. So Brooke and Cheyenne both confirmed what I thought throughout the season, which is that they knew each other from mutual friends, but they were never friends. So when they went on those girls trips and stuff that they mentioned, it was because they got invited by a mutual friend. So they start talking about how Evelyn invited Jackie and Cheyenne to that last girls trip and everybody felt the way. And Jacelle was like, yeah, I really felt the way because at the beginning of the season when I was trying to be the peacemaker, Evelyn was so mad at me. And Brandy hit it on the head. She said this whole group is kind of hypocritical. And I do feel like when Evelyn switched her tone and she ease up on somebody, so does everybody else. And Nina was like, so do you feel like they follow Evelyn? And Brandy said, I think so. And then she said, and I feel like right under Evelyn is Brooke because everybody's scared of Brooke. And I do feel like that's true because everybody saw when Brooke fought Jackie We never really saw it because they blurred the fight out. But the way it looked when Jackie came up out that fight, she looked a mess. Brooke looked the same. And there was a reason that the fight wasn't shown, which is probably because Jackie had more seniority on the show at the time than Brooke. So she was able to say, like, I don't want y'all to show that. And as far as Evelyn, I do feel like even if you look back at the older seasons, Susie and Jen and Shawnee kind of used to follow Evelyn when she used to like pick on Royce, for example. Jacelle says she's not scared of nobody, and Jackie barks at her. And Jacelle was like, what the fuck? He's like, girl, what? They asked Cheyenne about that dumbass suitcase. She was talking about it was good marketing. Girl, that suitcase was a fucking mess. And then they got into how Brooke supposedly had gay bashed when she said, you look like a man, but you could still get beat up like a girl, to Cheyenne's friend, who was a stud. Jacelle stood on the fact that she felt like it wasn't nothing wrong with what Brooke said. Cheyenne tried to say it was derogatory. They went back and forth. And Cheyenne was just like, yeah, you gonna sit down like you was doing that day. And Brooke was like, I'll drag you. So they was going back and forth, but neither one of them got up. So they get to talking about the whole fight that happened at the last dinner in Mexico. And Nina asked Cheyenne, why did she stand up when it was between Brandy and Jackie? And Cheyenne was like, I was getting up to break it up. And Brooke was like, no, you wasn't. You was squared up behind Jackie. And Cheyenne was like, yeah, I did stand up and get behind Jackie to have her back. And if it would have got physical, I would have had her back. So are you saying you would have jumped Brandy, or are you saying you would have broke up the fight? Which is what Brandy asked. And Cheyenne was like, nobody's talking about jumping you. So Nina asked Evelyn about the kiss with Brooke. And she said, I pulled the card and it said to kiss the person next to me. And I had Jackie on my right and Brooke on my left. And I didn't want to be on camera kissing Jackie. And Jackie said, oh, she was just respecting the fact that I'm a married woman. And Brooke said, were you respecting the fact that you were a married woman when you had kissed me? Because remember, she randomly kissed Brooke. So they started getting into Brooke and Jackie's issue that they had all season. And Brooke basically said that she's at the point where she doesn't hate Jackie. She doesn't dislike her. She really just has no feelings whatsoever towards her. And she just wants everybody to never bring up Kayla again. And everybody agrees. Cheyenne is thankfully dismissed. So they talk about Giselle's wedding real quick and just joke about how the girls were eating the food before the ceremony. Giselle said that she really wasn't happy with it, but she wasn't really that mad about it. She just said that she didn't want it to mess up the pictures because it was plates on the table and stuff. And then they transitioned into the conversation about Jen and her marriage to Christian. Jennifer said that Christian's restitution is paid. He's done with this case and he never asked her for a dime. So Evelyn was like, you know, it's a little triggering for me because he had a domestic issue and we know that Evelyn has had a domestic issue before. And she was like how when Jennifer made that comment about he should have just let the girl go and get into a car crash because I said I guess she was under the influence. You know, Evelyn was like, that was kind of a crazy comment, which it was. And Brooke tried to really break it down to Jen. Like, when we hear you speaking about the victim publicly to us and you know that most of us have had domestic issues, it's triggering for us. And it is kind of crazy because Jennifer herself has had domestic issues. Eric literally threw a drink in her face on camera. So we could imagine what he did to Jen behind closed doors. I'm talking about her ex-husband. And Brooke was just like, you know, I don't want you to try to tell her story. Jennifer was like, I'm not trying to tell her story. Brooke was like, don't be defensive. And Jen was like, bottom line, the case is done. I'm not going to keep talking about it. So Nina is like, I know that you guys have always tried to address your issues with each other's relationships lovingly, but there are some things that some cast members have to say that you haven't heard. So we're just going to play you some unaired audio. And they start playing Evelyn talking about Christian. They are so messy. They threw her under the bus. So Evelyn was like, her ex-boyfriend scammed her and then she meets this guy. She doesn't have street smarts, you know. She just dates these guys and she always ends up in some shit and I worry about her marrying him. I feel like he's doing some scamming stuff. Something's not clicking there, but I'm going to look into it. Now, this is low-key crazy because in past seasons when Evelyn was with Chad, Jen had did an interview, I think, and said he was a media whore. And Evelyn went crazy on Jen about that. So, yeah. So Jennifer was like, it's unfortunate what I'm hearing. And it's unfortunate that Christian keeps getting attacked like this because it's not true. And Nina asked Brandy, like, how did she feel about it? Because she was kind of like smirking or making a face while they were playing Evelyn's audio. And Brandy was like, I just feel like we all feel like we have to tiptoe around this situation with Jen and Christian. And Jen was like, you guys don't have to tiptoe around it. We don't have to agree with each other about everything. Just like I don't agree with you staying with Jason, you don't have to agree with me being with Christian, basically. And then Evelyn basically said she was concerned, but she never investigated him because she loves Jennifer and she didn't want it to interfere with their friendship. So then Evelyn kind of starts breaking down crying and she was just like, I have to find the right words to say because I don't want her to be mad and I kind of just have to be quiet. And Brooke basically said, you know, we want to be able to tell her how we really feel about her situation or our concerns about the situation without her feeling like we're trying to bust her balloon or bust her bubble. So I think the reunion is going to be one part this time. They're wrapping it up now and the ladies are about to exchange gifts. So Jen says she bought Jacelle a devotional. It was a book that said the meaning of marriage. Giselle bought Brandy a little mirror, and she basically said, I want you to reflect on everything you've been through because you still show up so well despite, everything you've gone through. And I just want you to reflect on yourself because you're so beautiful. So Brandy gave Brooke a picture of her and Brooke with a speech bubble of Brandy saying, I told you so. Girl, get the fuck out of here. Jackie asked them boy Evelyn a rose talking about your spirit's beautiful, you're beautiful, and I know you're not with anybody right now, so you could use the toy. Like, girl. Then she gonna say, and hopefully it will keep you away from them dogs. And then Evelyn got Jackie a shirt that says support your local ex-workers. And Brooke gave Jen a skate, like a keychain with a roller skate on it and a red flag. And she said that Jen skated through the season without any BS on her back. I don't really think that's true. Like Jen said, she just was very forgiving this season and she didn't drag shit out. She didn't hold any grudges. People were doing shit to her. She wasn't really doing other shit to people. And then she said the red flags was for the obvious, but they already talked about it, so she's not going to go down that road again. I'm thankful that they didn't force Shawnee into this reunion, and I'll see y'all next season to review Basketball Wives. Bye.